Hi everyone, welcome to Reading with Eve, and let's get on with the bookish video. Today we are doing yet another mini list of recommendations. I have 5 books today for you, and we are talking about cult trope and thrillers. Now, some of these are a bit on the looser spectrum of a definition of a cult, but I thought they would still be good to include. I will keep my personal opinions of these books kind of separate, as I didn't love all of these. Uh, I mean, I still like them enough to keep on my shelves, but by that I mean they're not all 5 stars. And I think that's fine, but I do think that as far as this trope goes, they are appropriate to recommend. And that's why I'm talking about them. So I will keep my chatter in this video mainly focused on that. So let's begin. The first book that I have to recommend is The Honeys by Orion LaSala, and this is one of those that I didn't love, but we're not here to talk about that. The story follows Mars, whose sister dies in horrific circumstances, and she was part of this camp up in the mountains that Mars was also a part of, but they were kicked out because they're gender fluid, and it caused some issues with the way that certain people at the camp reacted to it. Anyway, it's a whole other thing, but Mars goes back to this camp against their parents' wishes, and just against everything really, to investigate their sister's death. And things get really weird when he sees a group of these girls that call themselves the Honeys that his sister is revealed to have been very close with, but there's a lot more sinister stuff going on behind the scenes than Mars can imagine. And this book definitely delves into the whole cult dynamic. There is a lot more under the surface. It is very trippy, very kind of fever dream-like. I mean, like I said, it wasn't exactly for me, but if you are looking for a very weird type of, again, feverish vibe with cult as the main type of plot point, then do pick this one up. Then we have probably the darkest entry on this list, and that is The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I have spoken in great detail about this book in my wrap-up whenever I read it. I think it was September or something. So in my wrap-up, in my Ashley Winstead deep dive, if you want to check any of those videos out, that's completely up to you. But this book is about Shay, who she's 30, living with her husband at this perfect neighborhood in the perfect house, but she has a lot of issues and a lot of trauma that she's kind of trying to push aside until it's all just aired into the surface when her childhood friend is hosting this true crime podcast and she's listening to the episodes. And one of those episodes talks about her college best friend who took her own life. And she thinks that it actually wasn't a suicide, but that it was a cover-up from the cult that they were both part of back when they were in college. I probably should have said off the cult. Sorry, I get very annoyed when I make a grammar mistake while speaking. Again, Amy Santiago thing. So this book uses podcast elements to talk more about the past, and the past is where we actually delve into the cult that Shay was a part of, how they got recruited to it, what it entailed, and in the present day, then we get to see all the damage that it caused her, and the damage that's still there under the surface, just waiting to get out, and that it's really not easy to break conditioning, and also, last but not least, that the cult is still very much in action, and that it's setting its sights on bigger things than some college girls this time. So yeah, there's a lot of layers to this book, but please keep in mind that this is a dark book. It's not afraid to shy away from graphic subjects, disturbing subjects. I mean, I love to breeze through thrillers in one sitting where I can, but with this one I actually needed to take a break halfway and just pick it up another day because it was pretty dark. But yeah, as far as what I thought, I already spoke about it, but it's definitely a very interesting description of cult-like behavior. Next, we have another book that I didn't love, but I couldn't not mention it considering the content of this video, and that is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. And this is a thriller about this woman who inherits a house where some ritualistic murder-suicides have happened, and then we also see flashbacks from decades ago when this cult was in action and what exactly happened there. So I already spoke what I thought about this book. I know this is one of Lisa Jewell's most loved books, but at the moment it's my least favorite. I have read The Night She Disappeared and I Found You, and I liked both of those a lot more. But anyway, not the time or place for that. But as far as this book is concerned, when it comes to cults, Lisa Jewell is brilliant in just really delving into the whole psyche, a whole mindset of a character and their dynamics with each other, how they bounce off one another. So it is a really good exploration in what happens in one's mind once they're in that type of scenario. So I would definitely recommend it if you want a bit of a more introspective type of thriller where there aren't that many like urgent high stakes, I would say. If that's what you're after, do pick this one up. So now I have two more books for this list, and both of them, I would say, cult is a bit of a generous term to describe what's happening there, but again, it's as good of a description as any because the behavior is unhinged. And the first one of these books is called Black Widows by Kate Quinn. And this follows three women who have absolutely nothing in common apart from the fact that they share a husband. So it's kind of like a polyamorous relationship. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that word right, but you know what I mean. So they're in this relationship and they live in this homestead type of farm that is so cut off from the world. I mean, they don't have any access to any news, internet, any kind of connections to whatever friends or family they might have. They're just at his will, really. They don't have their money, their method of transportation, until one day the husband is found dead. And considering this situation, considering everything, the police immediately suspect one of these wives. And we spent the book trying to find out, did one of them do it? And if so, which one? And like I said, it's not a cult in like the traditional people wearing like robes and some kind of a fancy holiday retreat type of spa thing sense, but the way that this husband figure, the way he picks these women to marry and takes them to his farm, completely cuts them off from everything, and the lifestyle that they lived before he was murdered, it was so frugal, so, I mean, they made everything themselves. They rarely got any kind of equipment, any kind of items from the outside world apart from like the absolute necessities, and the way that he pitted them against each other, their entire self-worth was kind of depended on him. To me, that screams cult-like behavior. To me, that screams like cult leader sort of situation going on. And that's why I picked this book. And I didn't really expect to like it when I bought it. I mean, I didn't think I'd hate it or anything, but I actually ended up really enjoying it. It's just, it was so different, but the whole time I was thinking, oh my god, you're so brainwashed. And I thought, yeah, this will fit for this list because they were completely brainwashed by this man. And yeah, I would recommend if you're looking for some very interesting dynamics and very complex, if not necessarily likable characters. And another bit of a reach, perhaps, but technically some people categorize it as a dystopian book. I would still say definitely is set in a dystopian world, but I would say that it's also a thriller. And that is The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. Again, I hope that's how you pronounce it. And this is set in the society where when girls turn 16, they're sent to live in the woods for a year, but not before men in the village can choose them for future wives if they make it through that year alive. And it's because they think that when they turn 16, they start kind of like excreting this magic that they are gonna try to use to then harm the men. It's really strange and really messed up and sexist in all kinds of ways. But where the cult aspect comes in is that when our main character is picked and goes to wait the year out, she tries to think of like rational solutions, just to try to persevere with all of them, and she tries to present everything that she thinks to these girls, and they all kind of reject that and instead go to this other person that essentially just completely bounces her thoughts off on them, and they just take it for gospel, and they started going feral pretty quickly. So to me, it gave that cultish vibe. Someone said that this book did remind them of Yellow Jackets. I mean, I've spoken about it. I'm not sure if the video is going up or if it's already been uploaded, but I finished it recently and I've been looking for books that feel similar, and I could kind of see it a little bit. Definitely very different circumstances, but yeah, they do turn very cult-like the way I see it. So yeah, it's not going to be a book for everyone. I mean, I didn't love certain things about it, but I would recommend it if you're looking for something that will make you want to basically claw out the eyes of every sexist man ever. And that would be it. A small list of cult-like thriller books. I hope to increase that in the future to potentially make a part 2. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed by now, but I'm just sort of going through tropes and just seeing what I like, what I don't like, and if I gather enough that I think are worth recommending, whether or not I personally love them, I go ahead and create a video about it. So let me know if you have any cult-like thriller or horror recommendations for me to read. And if you like this video, then please do give a thumbs up, subscribe. I hope to keep building my community bit by bit, and I'll see you next time.